Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Sportsman, and we are back after England's brilliant win against Ukraine saw them into the Euro 2020 semi-finals. I'm joined by Stuart Pearce once again. What a performance! What a result, Stuart.
It certainly was. Once again, start with the manager. Team selection, absolutely spot on. Sancho come in and played his part for his first start in the tournament. Some fantastic goals within that. Harry Kane on the score sheet twice, which, carried on from scoring in basically the last couple of minutes of the German game. So he's got 3 goals in for want of 90 minutes, if you like. And a real feel-good factor. You just got the impression with the team as well, after the euphoria of beating Germany the other night. Celebrations were slightly muted, but I looked at that and I thought there was a real steely determination to get the job in hand and refocus straight away on the semi-final. So I was really pleased for the team.
Yeah, and back to Wembley, of course, we know how much of a boost that'll be. I can't believe how comfortable England were in the last 20 minutes. It's a quarterfinal of a major tournament. We've never seen anything like that before, have we?
We certainly haven't. I mean, it's a combination of 2 things. A, how good England and composed we were with the ball, how much they trust each other, the scoreline, and probably we'd broken the Ukrainian hearts. So I think Harry Maguire's goal just after half-time broke their hearts and they realised there was no coming back from there.
Yeah, for sure. And a word on Southgate's decisions. I know you just touched on it. He seemed to not be affected at all by Rome. And you mentioned in the build-up, we were going away for the first time. A lot of managers might have seen that as a negative. I think the way he played it was absolutely incredible. And the players seemed to really take that on board.
Yeah, I think in the main, it was probably... I'm looking at the away trip and going to Rome as a plus, really. I think from a psychological point, probably I'd dig deeper down than actually the surface of. And bear in mind, they've been at St George's Park for quite a while in the preparation and the build-up. And I think a change of scenery in a warmer climate would probably have done the squad really well to almost, go into this last week of the tournament with a big push. I think it'd probably give them a lift, if anything else, rather than being a negative. And there was a lot of talk as well, Simon, before the game, people saying leave the players out on yellow cards, all of that type of thing, which I never saw as certainly being the way forward. He didn't do that. He played his strongest card and he had the ability during the game, him and Steve Holland, as you saw them reassessing on the sideline, of managing to pull 1 or 2 of those players off that were on yellow cards and a threat of missing the next game.
And I know we've spoken about him before, but Declan Rice was absolutely incredible last night. And you mentioned there, one of those players on a yellow card. He was the one that left on for a decent amount of time before being withdrawn as well. Just how much maturity has been shown and how much has he grown throughout the tournament for you?
I think certainly Declan does. I mean, every day's a school day for Declan at the age he's at, and the standard of football. This is the highest standard of football Declan's played. I class this as higher than the Premier League, definitely. This is top quality international football. So he's never played at a major tournament. He's never played at this standard. He's never been this far down a tournament. We're talking quarter-final stage and hopefully he'll get a start in the semi and beyond. So for him, it's a learning, but he's got the capacity to want to do that. He's a big member of this group. I think he's a well-liked member within the group, but the team spirit that they've galvanised amongst the group is spot on. Really, really good. You can see it from the outside.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that really pleased me, and I'm sure will please Gareth Southgate as well, is 2 goals from set pieces last night. I mean, we saw in 2018, it was a major part of our game. It hasn't quite worked for us in this tournament so far, but seemed to really be on the nose again last night. And Luke Shaw's delivery, fantastic.
Well, it's that statement that you made there, delivery. If you get the delivery right, the movement right, what we've done in previous games, the delivery hasn't been right. It's been very scratchy, our delivery from set plays. If you put it into the areas, firstly, Luke Shaw's free kick, and secondly, the corner, put them into those areas. We've got players that can score goals directly from set plays. And as I say, it was good. Sometimes you've got to get over the line. It just might be one set play in a game, and that'll be enough.
Yeah, and Harry Kane as well. We touched on him before. 2 goals last night, 3 goals in total. He could well win the Golden Boot this tournament. I like what he said after the group stages was he wanted to prove himself in the knockouts because he didn't quite do it in the 2018 World Cup. You know, the goals kind of all came in the group stage. For Harry
Yeah,
Kane to score and really get going, this is looking good for England, isn't it?
it certainly is. I mean, I said before the tournament, if we're going to have a successful tournament, Harry Kane's got to do well. In the group stages, you know, his goals weren't there, maybe even his performances as well, if we're being honest. Um, we got a situation then where, because of his mental strength, and that is his main card, Harry, he's very driven, very internally driven. His mental strength will see him through any downturn in performance. And we're seeing that now. As I say, he's come through, his self-esteem for the 3 goals he's got and the contribution he's made there. And I still stick by that statement. If we're going to be successful in this tournament, Harry Kane's got to do well. And potentially he's going to have to score a goal or a couple of goals in the running if we play 2 more games for us to get our hands on the trophy.
Well, let's look ahead to that semi-final now. Denmark awaits a semi-final at Wembley awaits, and Stuart, you know exactly what awaits these England players.
Well, a major, put it this way, the semi-final stage is where I ceilinged out, but for these boys as well, I think they're going in a far better place. When you look at the whole squad situation, I think we've had a slight niggle on Saka, but apart from that, everyone's fully fit, everyone's available, everyone's showing decent form within the group. We shouldn't be fearing anybody, but the Danes have got a cause. They're fighting for a cause. You bear in mind, look at the route that they've taken to get here. Losing the first 2 games in the tournament, they were all but out. Their best player, Christian Eriksen, and we saw what happened with him. That's united the group even more. I think the Danish team have always been a pretty united group. There's no boom and bust with the Danes. You know, they offer a good level of consistency. Now they're also fighting for a cause as well because of the Christian Eriksen situation. You've seen that in their play. They've got some talent within their group. There's no doubt a few of their players are scattered through the Premiership that we'll know pretty well. And it's going to be a very, very tight affair. There's no doubt in my mind about that. This could be an odd goal game. It could be a 1-0. And we've got to make sure that, if possible, we're on the positive end of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a very close game. Denmark are a really talented side. I wanted to talk to you about how difficult was it, or your experience of refocusing between the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. Obviously, you did it at 2 major tournaments. What was it like in camp around that time after the quarters, building up to the semi-finals?
By the time we get to this stage of a competition, you know, the physical side of it don't come into it. Chances are you've played enough games to be fully fit. It's about rest. It's about recovery. It's about focus on the opposition and the tactical analysis that the manager will give the players. Sometimes also as well, it's about taking the pressure off the players as well, making it a little bit light-hearted, if you like. They'll be aware of the intensity of this game. There's no doubt in my mind about that. They'll be aware that they're 1 step away from a major final. The team have only ever done that in 66. So Gareth himself will draw on the experience he had in 2018. Bear in mind the 2 tournaments he's been to now, he's at least got the team to a semi-final, which is some record, by the way. So all of those things will play a part. And the togetherness of the group, I think they'll go into the game without any fear. I've seen this team over a number of years now with Gareth, and they play, they want the ball and they play. There's no fear factor in their football. And I think that will stand them in really good stead on Wednesday.
Yeah, and we've touched on it there, but we've spoken about these players writing their own history, you know, when they beat Germany and put those demons to bed. But the majority of this team were part of that 2018 side that lost the semi-final to Croatia. Do you think that'll impact them at all heading into this one?
I think in a positive way. I think they'll want to go another step further at least. I think whenever you have an experience in life, whether it be good or bad, and sometimes even more so on a bad experience, it sharpens your focus that little bit more. And I think it can only serve as a positive, the experience of getting beat in that semi-final and knowing full well you were that close to a major, major world final. And also as well, after the German game, I said it will lift our esteem and our belief, and I think it has, and I think we saw that in the performance against Ukraine, the fact that we did knock the Germans over. I look further down the line as well in football and think to myself, can we actually get our hands on a World Cup in a year and a half time, which comes around very quickly? And to do that, to go in with a self-esteem of actually winning a Euros, potentially next Sunday would be absolutely priceless.
It definitely would. And you obviously played in 2 semi-finals. We've mentioned that. Do you have any advice you could offer this England team from your experiences?
I would just say to them, do what you've been doing already. You don't have to do anything different to that. Trust each other in what you're doing on the football pitch and off it as well. And from a managerial point of view, I would say look at your manager and any judgment calls he makes on either substitution or team selection. You've got somebody that's doing it for the right and proper reasons. And if you're on the outside of it and you're not one of the 11 come Wednesday night, make sure you're ready to impact the game, because that's been a major strength of us as well. The players that have come off the bench have come off with the right mentality and impacted the game, and that might need to happen come Wednesday night.
Yeah, and we've spoken about the depth of those forward players before. Jadon Sancho got 90 minutes against Ukraine. Sorry, I forgot who we beat then, 4-0. What did you make of him and his performance? Has he got himself in with a shout of, maybe starting, maybe coming off the bench a bit more in the semi-final?
Yeah, I think the players have basically got the easiest job. They've just got to put themselves up, show the manager that they're fit and available for selection. The manager's got the toughest job. All of these players have contributed fantastically well to where we are at this moment in time. All the front 4 players, if you like, have all played minutes on the pitch. Bellingham was on the pitch the other day. Saka's played. The manager's got the toughest call of the lot to make sure he gets the blend right. And what he's done, he's got the blend right, and that depends on the opposition, I think. I think he's looked at the opposition and picked certain players for certain games. He'll do the same again against the Danes, He'll say, which one of my front 4? The 2 positions that, in my mind, are not negotiable are Kane and Sterling. Them 2 play, there's no doubt. But I think there's 2 positions up front that are negotiable. The rest of the team is set. I think you can honestly say that the other 9 will play. It's the 2 and the balance of the 2 that he has to get right.
Yeah, definitely. It gives us a bit of freshness as well, I think. And you mentioned a little hint at your score prediction earlier in the chat, but what is your official score prediction for this one, Stuart?
Well, I'll have to go for 1-0, I think. The Danes will defend very stoutly. There's no doubt in my mind they've got a very good back line and a very good work ethic amongst the team. I think it's going to be, I can't see it being a high-scoring game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think it'll be 1-0 to England. It might even be 1-1 and we have a bit of extra time when we nick it in extra time. But if you want one prediction, it'll be 1-0 to us.
That would do nicely, wouldn't it? We've talked about England quite a lot, but we are now at the semi-final stage. Could we just have a bit of a word on Italy versus Spain, the other semi-final? How impressed have you been with these 2 teams, and how do you see this one ending up?
I think the Italians have been the standout team. If we start with them, they've been the standout team in this tournament. I think from day one, they've played with a great standard of play and a great swagger. The only downside they've had at the moment was the game against Austria, where I think, their first knockout game at Wembley was not to the standard they've set, let's say, but they bounced back from that in the last game and looked absolutely fantastic. They, for me, have been the best team so far in this tournament that I've seen consistently. The Spaniards, I think it's a great semi-final, that one. I'm looking forward to seeing that. The Spaniards struggling to put the ball in the net, creating chances, but not finishing off those chances has been the story of their tournament so far. Once again, a tight game. I think it'll be the Italians, though. Nothing tells me that the Spanish are strong enough to beat the Italians if the Italians play as they can do. They've got a great work ethic amongst them. they're technically very, very good as a team. And tactically, they've got know-how, and the leadership of the two central defenders. I mean, Cellini, I absolutely love him to bits. He is a real old school central defender that knows how to defend, and he knows the intricacies of being a clever defender, let's say, and they've got attacking flair players that can go past you and score goals. They look the best side at the moment, and I think they'll win that semi.
There's a lot to like about that Italian side, Mancinian side as well, Mancini in charge as well. So I think I agree with you there. I think Italy have looked really strong so far. They should await in the final to play England or Denmark. So let's wrap up our chat there. Thank you very much for joining us once again, Stuart.